Hey guys, this is Joe. Today I want to introduce you to our partner Vanta. Achieving ISO 27001 or SOC 2 compliance can unlock major growth for your company and build customer trust, but the process can be time intense and costly. Vanta automates compliance, getting your audit ready quickly and saving up to 85% of associated costs. And Vanta scales with your business, helping you enter new markets. Join 7,000 global companies like Atlassian, Flow Health, and Quora that trust Vanta. Claim 20% off Vanta at vanta.com/startupradio. That's vanta.com, spelled vanta.com/startupradio.
Welcome to Startuprad.io, your podcast and YouTube blog covering the German startup scene with news, interviews, and live events.
Hello and welcome everybody. This is Joe from Startuprad.io, your startup podcast and YouTube blog from Germany. Today I have another guest here with me, Simon. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Joe, nice to meet you. Great to have me here. I'm quite excited and let's kick it off.
Yeah, totally my pleasure. We may add that you are a co-founder of the company Charge, which actually is written with an ampersand. So the and sign that you usually see in financial services companies, and Charge. We also may add that this interview is within our series with Invest in Hessen. So our enabler is Invest in Hessen, backed by Hessen Trade and Invest. Thank you very much for the support. We'll later get to this because you just recently been in the news for raising a seed financing round. We already discussed this. It's something like an extended seed round or a seed plus, but nonetheless, let's talk a little bit about you here. I have been looking at your LinkedIn profile, and as always, everybody who would like to reach out, go down here in the show notes. There is a link either to our blog post or directly to your LinkedIn profile. Main reason behind this is for all the audio podcasts and the video podcasts, there is a limit on the number of characters we could put there. So we put everything in a blog post. You have been working with a lot of interesting companies, including but not limited to BMW, Porsche Consulting, and you've been within Porsche coordinator for e-services for one of their SUVs. So tell us a little bit what awesome stuff you've been doing there.
Quite frank, it's e-mobility. No, of course.
One word. Okay, next question.
Just e-mobility. No, of course. I'd like to elaborate on that, of course. So, quite interesting because I'm starting this e-mobility thingy 10 years ago. So I'm let me say, if you say it a little bit in that way, I could be kind of a dinosaur or kind of pioneer that game. And I come to e-mobility accidentally, to be completely honest, after I finished my studies. There was a nice chance with a BMW. Yeah, you could work with kind of wall boxes, private charging. I was like, okay, what is private charging? Never heard about that. Let me say, I studied business administration, so I wasn't really in touch with charging and all the technical things. But it was the right decision 10 years ago, really, to go into that direction. And I was 3 years part of this BMW I project. Former names were basically a Project I, and they were pretty much focusing on this e-mobility topic. And they really thought it, let me say, on a green field. And they offered the car and they offered a couple of other services that charging and e-mobility is going to be hassle-free and seamless for the EV drivers. And one part is home charging, offering a wall box. And that was my job as a product manager to kind of define the requirements and be kind of, let me say, the representative into the markets. So I was part of the HQ for wallbox sharing, or wallboxes. And after that, after 3 years, I was, let me say, looking for another thrill in life, and therefore consultancy was the right answer. And I moved to the Porsche consultancy. And interestingly, I was assigned to a project within the Porsche headquarters in Stuttgart, and the task was to find a business model out of charging. And that was really the way into the headquarters, basically, where I afterwards end up. And there I met my current co-founders, basically Eugen and Matthias, within this project. And as a consultant, we were pretty much deep into charging, what is charging about. And we kind of defined a business model for Porsche. And then I got the chance to jump directly into Porsche, into the headquarters, and work on this project, which I designed kind of on PowerPoint slides, being a consultant. And then I got the chance with my co-founders, Eugen and Matthias, to bring this into reality. So we built kind of the first digital charging service within the Porsche ecosystem for Porsche and for the Porsche Taycan, the first battery electric vehicle from Porsche. And during that time, we gained a lot of experiences. What does it mean to charge a car, and what does it mean to go from ICE, so combustion engine cars, to electric cars, on both sides. So what does it mean for the players the partners, the B2B partners of the value chain? So they deal with kilowatt hours. It's hard to make margin out of it. It's a kind of race to the bottom. It's just kilowatt hours. It's nothing like super plus or super plus plus. You know what I mean? It's just like kilowatt hours. And on the other hand side, we learned that charging from a user's perspective is kind of quite expensive because you have a complex ecosystem and margins add up. Charging is based on kind of insufficient data quality. To sum it up, charging is kind of a challenge for B2B and for B2C. And that was kind of our chance to, maybe there's room for a nice, smart tech startup that could bring benefits to the B2B partners and bring nice values to the B2C, to EV drivers. That was, let me say, the initial spark, 2018, so around about 3 years ago.
Ooh, there was already a lot of information, but let us first put this a little bit into perspective. BMW i models are the all-electric models of BMW, so you've been working there. And the charging, meaning you basically, if you have a hybrid or an all-electric car, you can charge it at home and you just plug it up. In Germany, that could mean you either have the normal voltage of, I think, 240 volts right now, or you can have a little bit bigger outlet that allows you to charge faster. One of my family members once calculated he has an all-electric car, and if he doesn't charge at work, it takes something like 36 hours for the 240 volts to completely charge his car. So that's basically the problem. The problem area we are talking about. Plus, there is right now not really a standardization in terms of charging. So that means you cannot go to any charging station like a gasoline and can just plug it in. Basically, you always have to have the app. They have different prices, yada, yada, yada. So there's always a problem like it used to be in the early times of the combustion engine car, I would assume.
Yeah, so totally agree. Basically, of course, things got better in the last 10 years. Totally. I think this we need to somehow emphasize. Things got better, of course, but if it comes to home charging, there are kind of possibilities and solutions if you go for a wall box. So then you can charge up to 11 or 22 kW kilowatts. So this means that you can, of course, decrease the charging time for normal BEV up to, let me say, 6 to 8 hours, or even less, right? Let me say 3 to 6 hours. So during the night charge, that's quite comfortable. So if you have a charge at home possibility, you are the lucky guy. And I think we come to the point later, because I don't have in Frankfurt, and this would be somehow where I'd like to raise the hand, but this is something I think we tackle later on. And on the other hand side, you're totally right, because I think maybe a couple of steps back, charging is a little bit like the early beginnings of telecommunication, and roaming is kind of the idea. Like if you go and cross borders with your battery electric vehicles, it could get challenging because you struggle with which app and card, because it's not possible normally to just throw in your coins, like for gas for gasoline. but it's getting better. And there are, of course, apps, pan-European apps, but it's still something that is not, let me say, it's based on a couple of backends and backends to backends. So it's challenging for the EV driver, but he or she, they don't need to know the struggles behind all the backends. So just they come from a combustion engine to battery electric cars, and they would like to have the same experience. They would like to go seamless from A to B, right? But the ecosystem is how it is, and it seems that it's getting more complex in the future. And so we really need to solve a couple of issues. And one issue is the price point, and the other big issue is really data quality. And that's our really core, focusing on data quality, focusing on the price point by kind of rewards programs, to put in a nutshell. But I think we come to the point in this discussion.
We will come to the point, because right now we are at the point of the interview where you co-founded and Charge in January 2020. You got officially registered in the Handelsregister. And why then? We already more or less cleared the question how you meet your co-founders. Basically, there was, I assume, a pretty unfortunate time for founding a company, because in February, Germany got hit by the coronavirus. Tell us a little bit about the founding story.
Yeah, the coronavirus. It's been 2 years, right? So it's been a while. Yeah, so of course you never know what happens in the world. And I can remember in January 2020, I was visiting the Hinterland of Things, the tech festival in Bielefeld, where I used to do my apprenticeship a couple of years ago. And we were just talking like, okay, there's something going on in China, and yeah, but it's something basically maybe in China that let's see. And then I think a couple of weeks later, we had this first, of course, incident here, the discussion about lockdowns. And yeah, to be completely honest, I think we were quite lucky, because we are basically a tech company. And the first use case we started with was at that time being a rewards program, a sustainable rewards or loyalty program. And we had kind of basically 100% e-commerce on board. So that was the value chain. That is still part of our value chain and the DNA. And so we saw that after closing down the bricks and mortar stores, of course, that we had a steady revenue and even increasing revenue in e-commerce. So I think that was the lucky punch. But I think I can share in here transparently. Of course, we were discussing at that time, and prior to that time, and that's what was again part of the founding story, that charging is like more than refueling, right? And if you charge your car, you have time, so you can do something, and why not connecting like bricks and mortar places with charging stations? So this is again another thing that is quite interesting, and luckily we haven't focused that hard prior to the pandemic on that. So this would have been quite a challenging time. So luckily we gone through it quite well. To be completely honest, we could rely on the e-commerce part, and so therefore it was okay. Of course, it's strange working from home. By starting a new company, you like to of course spend time with the teammates and thinking about new things, experiments. But I think we had the freedom to get used to it. Working from home, we just need our laptops. So I think therefore it was good to just found something that is based on code lines. So nothing really in bricks and mortar, right? So therefore it was okay, yeah. It was okay, yeah.
Now we get a little bit to in what Charge is. And my understanding is you guys are an online shopping app that rewards users with energy for driving. I've heard another interview where you claimed 95% coverage of German online stores. And my question is, first, of course, can you explain a little bit more extensive what you guys are actually doing? Did you improve the coverage of the online stores in the meantime? And my understanding is you guys work, for example, with Lieferando, Zalando, and Delivery Hero. Are there other recognizable names? Sorry, lots of questions. First, tell us what you guys are actually doing.
Yes, actually, and that's nice question. I love it because it's really the startup journey. You have a first idea, and then of course you have it live. You get your first user feedback. You see where the turnover is about, and I think quite important for a startup is two things. First of all, you need to solve real pain points, and this means really real pain points. And the second thing is, out of that, define a product or service that could be scaled. And best way could be scaled Europe-wide or globally. So I think we come to the points. And the first pain point we were about to solve is this high charging price. So kind of find a way to decrease the cost for charging and to put it more easy, the total cost of ownership. So the normal consumer can basically compare, this is my bill for having a combustion engine car, and this is my bill for having a BEV. And the BEV bill should be lower than for the ICE car. I think then then all of the players in the ecosystem made a good job. But this is still not the case, right? Especially if it comes to public charging. Charging is quite expensive. Just to give you an example, you can end up by €1 per kilowatt hour, and the average consumption is 20 kilowatt hours. So it's €20 per 100. Could be, of course, it's not hard black and white, but charging is challenging. So the first idea was, okay, kind of bonus program, and all of us knows payback. And for us it was quite nice because it's not rocket science and easy to understand. So we would not start with a fancy platform that nobody understands, and reward program everybody knows, right? So every bakery has a printed card, a stamp card where you can collect your stamps and points. And Payback has, I think, a couple of 10 million users here in Germany. So we thought, okay, let's be the sustainable Payback, or might say more basically. And the idea was we are connected to a couple of online shops in Germany. We have got this more than 90 or 95%. Like IKEA is on board Booking, so we have all the relevant players. Otto is something that works very nicely. And with every purchase, our users can collect bonus points. We name them kilometer, and those can be redeemed for free public charging. That's the first proposition we have on the platform. And regarding the question, could we increase the number? I think it's kind of steady because now we are in the process where we really like to kind of define and select which partner fits to our vision being a sustainable company. That's quite important for us, and it's always a challenge there. So this is something where we're currently focusing on where to get those sustainable online shops. How could we extend the service to brick and mortar, to maybe smaller companies to support those? And that's the very first pillar. And then what we are actually doing is exactly, now I would answering, we are the only European platform that combines smart user engagement with value-added services. What does that mean? So we have this reward mechanism where we can reward behavior. One behavior is shopping, but another behavior could be providing data. And that's, let me say, the clue. And I would compare ourselves with Foursquare. Foursquare currently provides basically data points to Airbnb, to TripAdvisor. So it's not Google, basically, it's Foursquare. Nobody, I think, knows Foursquare really. And they have a B2C app where they ask for data and they gamify it. You can increase in your levels, you can collect badges, points, and we do kind of the same for EV charging. So our users, they take pictures of charging stations. They rate charging stations. They provide attributes. Is it safe? What about illumination? What about, is it possible to charge there for disabled people? So we are becoming the platform with the most accurate data, and we gamify the collection of the data with the EV drivers by rewarding their activities. And there we're mixing those two worlds of rewarding and data. And you can say user engagement on a higher level and value-added service, because we can resell those data to all those players in the ecosystem, and they can enrich their services and apps.
You get vouchers for electric charging for your vehicle. What if you don't own a vehicle or an old combustion engine?
If you're part of our platform and you own a combustion engine, you say, or it could be the case. I'm not quite. I think most of the majority of the users, they already have an EV or they go for, right? They ordered, and maybe they're still in combustion engine old world, let me say that way, and they already start collecting. That's quite interesting to see, though. So maybe they ordered and it takes a couple of months until the car is getting delivered, and they're already starting, to collect kilometers, and it's cool. I'm getting familiar with it. I think we don't have the typical combustion engine users on the platform, to be completely honest. So I think for those guys, we don't have a strong proposition. Maybe some are interested in maybe gamify with us a little bit, but our focus would be really the EV drivers out there, and currently focusing on Europe, the EV drivers in Europe.
My understanding is you could also redeem the points, for example, for a ride with an e-scooter, right?
Yes, and this is something that we tried a lot in the last year. So this is part of our DNA, and I think you, Joe, and the audience know definitely, like Eric Ries, lean startup. So it's all about really small hypotheses, testing experiments, and we were experimenting a bit with micromobility, scooter, ride-hailing, ride-sharing, and such. Maybe it could be nice that users can redeem points for those micromobility use cases as well. And this is something we kicked off last year, I think in June, July. And we see that it could be a nice addition to the use case, but the main use case is really points for free charging. But of course, there are some users, and that's quite interesting. We have those power users, they collect thousands of points, and they won't have the chance, I think, in their life to redeem those points for charging. Yeah, it's quite, we have those really, and I like those. We have a power user, I think 3 weeks ago, he just wrote us and said, okay, I think he directly wrote to Eugen, our co-founder, my co-founder, like, okay, Eugen, I just charged on my e-bike. I'm ready to go and review 80 stations for you today. And he gets those bonus points for the reviews. And but this is something, and especially that's a system we rely on those power users, of course, in the markets. They are quite loyal with you. They have a high retention, high engagement, and they collect points for charging. But of course, there could be some cases where they say, okay, maybe I take a scooter or take an Uber Green or such. Yeah.
Power users, but who are actually your clients? What is your business model? How are you gonna make money? Because my understanding is you work with retail clients, like in the shopping, in the charging, but you also work with corporate customers. As you said, currently shifting to Foursquare for e-car drivers, maybe also e-bike drivers. Is that the direction you guys are going right now?
That's the direction. So it's really, I think e-bikes could be maybe a side use case. Let me say the clear growth path for us is being that Foursquare with a strong B2C, this community, the strong user engagement, and offering those value-added services B2B. And the clients, we can really come from the two pillars we have at that charge is online shopping or shopping. So these are retail partners, like if you said, like said, Otto, Booking, Zalando. So there we earn a small margin on every purchase. So that's basically quite clear, and it's for us quite good to somehow predict the growth in the next years. So that's a good and strong foundation we have. And then the second thing, and that's, to be completely honest, I think that's we are thinking about, could we have an edge, the secret sauce? And of course, everybody's talking about data, but it's not that easy to make money out of data. Everybody, data, of course, but you need to have a proposition out of those data. And our proposition is that we have the most accurate data, and it's quite interesting because there are discussions like, for example, with navigation system provider. They, of course, route you from A to B, but they rely on accurate data. And where to get those data? You won't find this database currently in Europe, and we try to become, and this is the clear vision, this database that has the most accurate data points. And on the other hand side, that's quite funny. We are currently, of course, working together with like charge point operators to basically let them work with our power users and ask for feedback on the charging station. That's quite interesting. So again, data. It's again a data game.
So basically, the operators of the charge points, your power users help them improve the user experience there.
Exactly. That's quite interesting to see. So if you compare it with a normal gas line use case, you have a cashier there, right? Here, she can check the station, the gas station several times a day, but you won't have it for charging. That's quite interesting. And so we ask our users to provide exactly those data.
Mm-hmm. 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 I see. I think now I start to understand what you guys are actually doing and how you guys are going to make money. For everybody who's not familiar with Germany, because 75% of our audience is abroad, Payback here in Germany is a customer loyalty system. When you go grocery shopping or somewhere, they always ask you for the Payback card, and then you scan it, you get rewards points, and then you can redeem them, for example, for shopping, for special items, yada, yada, yada. Vouchers, 20 euros shopping voucher for the same store or something like this. Plus, I do believe there also like a couponing thing there, like double points, triple points, 20 time points on whatever. So they also make challenges. You guys are also going to make challenges like this?
It's a good keyword. So we have our own section in our current app. This is called challenges. And it's quite interesting because a challenge for us is a task for our community. And the task could be, of course, shop at this store, shop at the weekend, shop via Black Week, or provide data points, or rate the charging station provider. So a challenge is for us a kind of a summary and umbrella for activities we assign to the users. But of course, what we do see is that e-commerce runs like crazy. But you always have this thing where we're discussing, okay, e-commerce, we really need to make sure that it's kind of sustainable. And what we do is that we offset every transaction from our budget, basically. We have corporations with $1 glasses where we basically donate money to like third country that they can afford glasses, that they can afford projects. So this is quite important for us. This is basically core of our DNA. So it's not just written on our homepage greenwashing. We really basically donate from our revenue, from our turnover to those companies and providers like Red Cross or World Food Program, basically. And so we do a lot of challenges from various basically categories on our platform.
Mm-hmm. You guys have been called the mice and more of the new mobility. Would you agree to that statement?
Yes. So I think, of course, it is still this one pillar, and now we're shifting towards this data. So I think we could say we are the kind of miles and more payback, sustainable payback for e-mobility, plus the Foursquare for charging. I think then we have it. So the best of both worlds, basically. And we use this reward mechanism to really get the user engagement. So therefore, that's the glue or secret sauce, maybe it could be. Yeah.
When you've been talking, I had two more current events in mind that I would like to ask you about. First, you talked about Black Friday. You're mostly present here in Germany. And did you really see any effect on Black Friday? Do the numbers go up like crazy, or is it like a little bump in online shopping here?
It was like crazy, to be completely honest. So it was, so, and it's quite interesting to see because we see that the users, they love to be with us with this, of course, with this strong, sustainable vision we have. Of course, they could go for payback or others, but they decide, okay, I spent my money with Encharge. And during Black Week, we donated a couple of €1,000 to companies, basically. So we put away from our turnover something. And this is quite clear. So we have it quite clear on the homepage and in the newsletter where we promote the shops. And for the next year, apart from Black Week, we are thinking about Green Week. So really focusing on the sustainable shops. And it's not that easy to find such. So I think we have more than Payback, when I can compare it in here, more sustainable online shops than Payback has. And it's quite hard to find those, of course, sustainable e-commerce, like Avocado Store, where you can really get your clothes, sustainable clothes or other things. And so the next logical step would be focusing more on those bricks and mortar stores. Smaller stores, could be chains, pushing, let me say, the local stores and local partnerships.
Mm-hmm. The second very recent question is, Olaf, we're recording this on December 8th, 2021, and Olaf Scholz was sworn in his new position, Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany, today. What would you expect from his chancellorship. You think green mobility will get another boost?
It has to. I think we have this. I don't want to be too dramatic, but it's this last chance somehow.
You can be dramatic, don't worry.
No, and I think it's getting dark in here. I think I just need to turn my light on, but I do it after answering. Yeah, it's winter times. No, I was quite somehow under fire during this election. So it was really like, okay, whom to elect, what are in the programs, what can we do, what should we do? And I think we see here in Frankfurt, we have the Volt party elected. I think that's quite interesting to see. And I think it's clear we need to achieve this 1.5 degree goal. Definitely, we need to shift the industry, that's quite sure. And I think what we currently can see is that there will be a kind of boost. And we see that Germany is currently, it's not the front runner yet if it comes to e-mobility, but we are kind of overtaking other states. That's quite impressive to see. We have grants for new cars. We have grants for the private wallbox, 900 euro. You can get for the private wallbox. Then taxation exemption, etc., 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 etc. And those things will be extended soon. And then there are big programs, national programs, to increase the infrastructure, the charging infrastructure, basically. So this is something, of course, for my small cosmos, charging e-mobility. I definitely see that there will be a push from the government. And then, of course, if it comes to digitalization, we have to, of course, improve there as well. And then many, I think we can extend this to other sectors as well. But I think this green as foundation, this is we don't need to discuss, but I think this is so quite clear that we need to really do something and have this strong shifts in Germany, but of course kind of in Europe as well. And I hope that we could be kind of, let me say, being in the front runner position, pushing other nations, and of course we have this global situation as well. So I think it's going to be a very big task for the new government for the next 4 years. A lot of things to do, but I think we have a nice chance. And the pandemic was a kind of it made transparent, so where tasks lying, and so I think there is a good chance really to now make the step forward and and set the stage for the next decades, and for the next generations to come.
Lots of tasks ahead for you. How are you funding those tasks? You're right now in our interview because we found beginning of November a news piece that you raised a seed round for an undisclosed amount. I've been trying to poke you a little bit before the interview, but you didn't tell me how much. So we say undisclosed amount, but 7 digits. You currently funded by, I assume, first a little bit bootstrapping, then VC funding, seed round. You currently look for other investors.
So currently we are funded so far. So the first funding we got was basically from Porsche, the seed, the initial seed, and then we now extended with Helen Ventures from Finland. So it's quite nice to have them on board, reflecting the Nordics. So they are quite, let me say, they're quite far ahead with digitalization, e-mobility. So they have some nice insights we can really make use of, very beneficial. And so we just closed this seed plus that enables us and gives us really the chance to make it happen, to really go and move forward on the scale path we defined and we really worked on quite hard in the last month. And this is this data thing, right? So this is really becoming this Foursquare and make use of rewards. So that's the task we assigned. We just had a board meeting a couple of weeks ago where we just shared this vision, our tasks, or our OKRs, the objectives and key results. And this is where we really want to focus in the next, I would say, days and months. So in startup, it's a little bit short term. So we're currently working on that. And of course, I think there will be a golden future for the whole e-mobility market globally. So and then we need to see. But currently, we're not searching for other So by now, investments, but I think I learned it can get fast, or it can get quite fast. That we are, to be completely honest, they are asking us, there are, let me say, requests from other VCs. I think that's then for sure. And of course, we keep discussing and I think someone maybe pre-selecting in our minds what could be interesting for the next round. But I think first of all, we need to scale quite hard. And we will.
Bottom line for the VCs, if you want to get into Series A, reach out now.
Yeah.
Talking a little bit more about your partners. I've found, for example, that you are a partner with DB Bike, meaning the bicycle rental service of German train operator Deutsche Bahn, Uber Green, and many more. What type of partners you're currently looking for, like brick and mortar retailers, other e-commerce shops, like e-scooter providers? What are you looking for?
Yeah, so mainly two sides. So we are always happy to find new shopping partners, so new sources for bonus points for our users. And this could be e-commerce, in brackets, some of sustainable would be nice. This could be brick and mortar. We have some good discussions there as well. And then it's always about, let me say, burning the kilometers. So where to burn those kilometers. And that's mainly those, there are two specific words in this ecosystem. One is CPO, charge point operator. That's the gas station provider, to put it pretty simple, like the Aral of charging. And of course, Aral, they currently transforming to e-mobility as well. So those partners on a European scale, like EnBW is a very big one. We just closed a cooperation in Germany. Mainova here in Frankfurt, those partners who are really providing access to charging stations. That's the main target. So one side e-commerce or commerce for earning, and the other side is really for burning those kilometers and collecting those data. Yeah.
Again, we may add for our audience outside of Germany, Aral is one of the big chains for gasoline stations here in Germany. Talking about here in Germany, in which countries are you currently available?
Yes, so currently we have 6 European markets. It's the DACH region, so Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and we have Belgium,
and Liechtenstein.
And Liechtenstein not yet. It's the same with Benelux, Belgium, Netherlands. Luxembourg will follow soon, I would say. And UK we just launched. And for us, it's currently we are in the go-to strategy for the next markets. And there's lots of going on in the market. So for sure we will launch our app. And I think this could be a small teaser or spoiler. We are currently working and rebuilding our app. So there will be a new Encharge B2C app by Q2 next year. And with that app, we will launch this app to a broader market set. So all the Nordics, of course, for sure, like Italy, France, Spain, those markets will be addressed by next year.
Mm-hmm. You are currently headquartered in Frankfurt. That's why we're talking, sponsored by Invest in Hessen. What do you like and dislike about Frankfurt as an entrepreneur, and what would be your wishes for politics?
Yes. Yeah, Frankfurt is quite nice. And maybe I'm just turning my light on. So just a second, because I'm seeing that it's getting darker and darker. Now it should be maybe a little bit better, hopefully, for the video record. So yeah, Frankfurt is quite nice. So I used to live in Stuttgart and Munich a couple of years, and basically Frankfurt is, of course, if it comes to fintech, it's I think the place to be. And for us, it was a quite good decision to be here, because we don't have these hard competitions for the good brains as we would have in Berlin, for example. Right? If you have developers, I think wouldn't stay for more than 6 months or 12 months with their company. So in here, it's not that hectic, and it's not that hectic startup place. This is what I like in Frankfurt. First point, and the second point now for me, as I'm a salesman basically. So I used to travel a lot, and I will be traveling more, and it's quite nice. I'm living in Bockenheim, and it's just 10 minutes to the central station, and I'm just taking ICE. It's quite nice, sustainable transport, and it's from a European perspective. You can go to Amsterdam, you can go to Munich or Berlin, Hamburg, it's quite easy from here from Frankfurt, so it's quite good located. This is what I really like. So the dislike, and there's a big dislike, and this is somehow the kind of fingerprint. We don't have charging infrastructure in here, so we are kind of the worst cities in whole Germany. It's really unbelievable. It's quite crazy. Nothing happens, and if I'm searching for charging station near Bockenheim, I think I can just count it on one hand. It's not more than 5 in a circle of, I would say, 20 kilometers, 15 to 20 kilometers. You won't find charging stations in here. And this is, I think, something due to complex regulations and such. I really can't find the reason why, because there are lots of things going on where you see other cities, for example, like Hamburg, they have 1,400 charging points. To compare it with Frankfurt, I think we have 150 charging points. So it's really, it's kind of crazy. And if you would like to go electric in Frankfurt and you can't charge at home, you won't do it because you can't recharge your car as easy as it is. So either you can charge at home, and I can't because I have this duplex garages. It's quite expensive to go for Wallbox. I can't charge at work, so there's no possibility for me now to recharge a car. And this is something, of course, we need to think about with the players, with the stakeholders, and how to fix that. I think, of course, there's some announcement in the press. There will be charging stations, but I can't see really like where they could build, and it seems to be delayed by months and months and months and months. And if you Google it, you find a lot of articles on that. Even 1 or 2 years ago, Frankfurt is lagging behind, and it's 1 or 2 years ago. And I'm questioning myself, why is there nothing happening now? So yeah, I think this would be my dislike. We need to work on. Of course, I can offer my help, and but we need to work on that, because otherwise we would get a problem in here achieving this ratio of electric vehicles in Frankfurt. Yeah.
We may add that Bockenheim is one of the boroughs of Frankfurt with a population a little bit above 40,000 people. That said, Simon, it was just a pleasure talking to you. We now recorded more than 41 minutes.
Oh, wow.
That might be a new record.
Oh.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was an awesome interview. All the best. And let us guys know when your new app will be available. We will share it on our social media channels and update this interview here.
Oh, just great, Joe. It was quite a pleasure. Quite nice talk with you. Very fruitful. And yeah, let's stay in touch, and let's rock e-mobility.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye, Joe.
That's all, folks. Find more news, streams, events, and interviews at www.startuprad.io. Remember, sharing is caring.